I've got to give it up. I've got to give it up.
Hello, welcome to the workshop. Today we're going to build in a set of wheels for this bike here. Okay, the wheels are over here. So we've got Tech XC Hope, Pro 4 hubs, floating rotors, these are the bolts for the rotors, Sapim Race spokes, double square nipples, this is the spokes powder to stop the spokes squeaking, tensioner, nut spinner. So, non-drive side spokes 262, drive side spokes 261. Always place everything out and you can see where it is. So drive side 261, non-drive side 262, and the spokes accordingly 16, 16. I'm going to check a few with my spoke gauge to make sure the length is correct, and then we'll start lacing. Right, so you can see now I've put 8 spokes 261 on the inside of the flange. Now what you've got to do is make sure you start in the right place on the actual rim. So what I want to do is make sure that the actual valve, which is here, you see there, actually points to the writing that's on the hub. So what you've got to do with that is make sure when you put the first spokes in, the first spoke to the left, you miss one, count round 4, put them all in on the inside and make sure that spoke there goes to the left hand side hole where the valve is. So here's a rim, there's a hole, left hand side, put that in. Get your double square nipple and screw that in. Right, the first spoke's in. So what you've got to do now is count 4 round. So from this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and put the next one in the 4th hole, like so. And put your double square nipple on. Okay. So the next one, count 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, put it in. This applies to a free cross pattern, which is what I'm doing, which is the most common pattern you can do with a B-type rim, which is what this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, put that in, put your nipple in. I'll bring you back in a minute when I've done them all. Okay, so the drive side 261s are in. So what you got to do now is make sure you start in the right hole on the opposite side. So because this is a B-type rim, right, you need to make sure that if you look across, put the spoke across, you'll see 2 holes on the other side. It's got to go on the right hand side of this spoke into there. Okay, now we've put the spokes on the non-drive side. So what you've got to do with this to make sure you put the first spoke in correct is make sure you're line up with the valve hole, line up the drive side with the valve hole, and then on the opposite side count 3 spokes from the right and place them over to the left, and the 4th one put next to the valve hole, which is here, so you get a parallel 2 spokes on each side, and then count 4, put one in, count 4, put one in. Okay, so we've now got all the inside spokes put in the rim on a free cross pattern. So now we can start doing the outside spokes. So I'm going to do the drive side first, and then I'll bring you back and we'll do the non-drive side. Okay, so we're now lacing the outside spokes on the drive side. So get your 4 square nipple, get your nut spinner. As more spokes go in, the less spoke you've got to play with. Tap it in. Right, so you get your spoke, put your wheel. Look where the last spoke was I put in, which is here, this one here. So what you want to do now is go over this one, under the next one, miss a hole, so it's 4 from the last one you put in, push it up in the hole, using your nut spinner, put the spoke in, do it round 3 or 4 turns, then pull that off. So, same thing again. So, get a double square nipple, stick it in your spinner, tap it in, like that. Get your next spoke, which is this one, careful with this, we can get into a bit of a mess. So clamp back to your spokes, so over, under, miss a hole, and then in. Using your nut spinner, about three turns will do it. If you put them too far in, and you won't get the other spokes in, if you see what I mean. You need a little bit of play in the spokes to get the nipples on. Okay, so we've done the drive side now, it's completely laced up on a free cross pattern. We've just got the non-drive side to finish off. Okay, so again, remembering that the non-drive side is a 262, one slightly longer. So using a nipple spinner, just put it in the end, right, and just give it a tap just to secure it like that. Right. Get your spoke. Now it's quite important to put this powder on. When you're doing up the spokes, it stops them snagging and sort of seizing up a little bit. It's like an anti-slip type thing. Right, so once you've got the powder on, okay, so we're going to go this way so the spoke ends up on the outside. In like that. Lay that down to one side. Get your next spoke. Little bit of powder on it, like so. Tap the excess off, push that through, like so. Pull it in. Okay, get your nipple spinner, get the double square thing, give it a tap. Right, so that's the last spoke I put in. Get the next one, push over, under, next hole, push it in. Get your spinner. Just come out there. Get your spinner, put that on, do it up. A couple of turns. Okay, there you have it. That's how to lace 32 hole rim type B in a free cross pattern. So now what I'm going to do is put it in a jig, and then we'll go through the truing process. Okay, so we're in the jig. I'll just show you the current state of the wheel. As you can see, it's miles out. So what we're going to do, you see how now you can see thread showing on each nipple and each spoke. What I'm now going to do is take each nipple and spoke in until I can't see any thread. I'll bring you back when I've done that and I'll explain to you the next thing. So I've put some red tape on there and I know which size of spinner to use. This is the actual tensioning device I used. The reason I do it this way is if you build the wheel from the outside of the rim, you don't damage the actual spoke flats. It looks nicer, it looks a bit more professional. I'm just doing them up until I can't see any thread showing here. Okay, so what I've done, I've took each nipple onto the spoke so I can't see any thread, and then took each one in 1.5 turns. Okay, so what we've done now, because this side of the spokes is more flat because it's inside the hub motor, right, what I've done, I've tensioned up that side so the wheel sits over there a little bit. So I'm now going to true it there a little bit more so it's fine, and once I've done that I'm then going to pull it back using this side with the angle to tension it properly. Because if I do it the other way around, it's going to be very difficult to pull the wheel with a spoke that's nearly flat, if you see what I mean. This side is dished out, that side is flatter. So you always tension it on the drive side over a little bit, you can see there. What I'm going to do now, before I start tensioning it properly, is check how concentric it is. If you look down, I've moved the gauge so I can now see how much it's running, concentric and eccentric. What I'll do now, I'll tighten the spokes in pairs, one either side, so I pull the high spot out of it until it runs relatively true. Okay, so I'm not happy with it at the moment because obviously we're not, this side still stuck as anything. So we're now going to take each one of the non-drive side in one turn to pull the rim across in the middle. Right, I've done that. Right, so now it's round about in the right ballpark, so now I can start tensioning both sides now until I get it running perfectly concentric and perfectly in the middle. Okay, so I've gone now backwards and forwards on each side to get it running true. And I've moved the stand then down like this, put it underneath, then I can check for the concentrivity and then pulled it up and down doing sets of purrs. So if it's out a lot here, say, yeah, so it's really high, you do these two maybe, you know, a quarter of a turn, yeah, and then less on the two outer ones, so it pulls it in gradually, if you like. So if you look at it now, I'll just wind the stand up a little bit. I'll put it about there now and run that round. It's a little tiny bit of fine tuning and we're almost there. Once you're happy, everything's running true and nice, then all you do then is just do them all up till you get attention. So start from the spoke hole, say, where are we? Here, and just go around quarter of a turn until you get every one nice and taut. You can tell when they're tight enough. Kind of like that. So that's how to build a free cross wheel.